It is often said that nothing reaches the celebrity status that Indian cricketers and Bollywood actors possess. But there are some unsung heroes, especially on the cricket field, who are as good as their counterparts but weren't lucky enough to don the Indian blues. Today, sports stars Vijay Lokapally speaks to one such cricketer.
Hello, viewers. This is Vijay Lokapally. We at the Sports Star are launching a series on domestic cricket stalwarts, and we begin with K.P Bhaskar. He has been known as Bhaskar Pillai and K.P Bhaskar, and in the cricket world, they know him better as Bhasi. Bhasi played for Delhi North Zone, went on India tours also to Bangladesh. I remember that was he can talk about it. He's played a lot of cricket in England during the summers for various clubs, various counties. He's been a journeyman, if I can call him, playing domestic cricket, local cricket, and of course, the focus here is on him, his memories of his journey, and why he did not play for India. He almost played for India. So welcome, Bhasi. Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you for having me over.
Yes.
I'm told I'm the first one to be on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We begin the series with you. So, Bhasi, if you can just share a bit about yourself, in short, your pleasant memories from your domestic cricket. I mean, what is it that you remember the most?
I think the Delhi dressing room. I think where we had big stars like Jimmy Amarnath, Madan Lal. We also had Chetan Paji, and when I started my career, Bedi Paji was also part of the Delhi 11, and so were some of the youngsters like Maninder Singh, Kirti Azad, Surinder Khanna, Manoj Prabhakar, and a whole lot of people. And one name that I always talk in my interviews and the contribution that he's done for Delhi cricket and for North Zone is Rakesh Shukla. I always felt that if there was any fitting kind of stand for him, it should have been in Delhi. It should have been for people like him and people like Madan Lal, who's given great contributions for Delhi's upliftment in the field of cricket.
Yeah. And Bhasi, your early years, I remember you began with Sonnet Club, and then your grooming was fantastic. Preparing the pitch, rolling the mat, carrying the mat from one place, 1 kilometer to the ground, and playing just for the fun of it.
True, I think it was more passion. I mean, hardly there was any money when I made my debut for Delhi. It was the match fee was something like $250. So I think most of those cricketers in my years, my era, I think it was more passion rather than the money part. And also the fact that if you had played some kind of first class cricket or any class of cricket, in the age group cricket also, you would be assured of a job in one of those, public sector companies or in the bank. So I think that also was a kind of inspiration for, getting settled down in life. And that's how it all started. Rightly so, what you said was that Sonnet Cricket Club was a private club run by Mr. Tariq Sinha. And we used to contribute 10 rupees a month. So we were, it was in the beginning part of, Sonnet's, emergence. We hardly had any kind of ground. We didn't have any ground of our own. We used to practice in a public park. Also fact that it used to be a half matting that we used to practice on. I think it's all started with a humble beginning. And then, of course, over the years, Saji was able to produce about 15 test cricketers and n number of first-class cricketers. And Sonnet is a name by itself now.
Yeah. And Bhasi, how was it that you're beginning every season with a lot of hope? And Delhi was a very competitive state. I mean, to get a place in the Delhi team was like earning an India slot. So, how was cricket in those days? How competitive when you see today you are a coach? I mean, you have been coaching different states. So, the state of competitiveness in domestic then and now.
Rightly so. I think we were greatly honored by the fact that we had some big names in the dressing room. We had role models. We could really emulate them. We could learn from them because most of these former cricketers, Indian cricketers, the names that I took like Jemi Amarnath, Chetan Chauhan, Madan Lal, and a whole lot of others. Even Surinder Ramanna, he was also a part of the 15 when I got into the Delhi team. Bedi Paji, Rakesh Shukla. See, they were all available for the domestic games. But it's surprising now that with the such a busy schedule of today's cricket, international schedule, that these players, none of them, I think Virat Kohli hasn't played for the last 13, 14 years for Delhi. He hasn't played a single game for us. So I think you miss out on role models. So when you had players like the names that I took, you could learn from them. There was a lot of interaction, and that's why I put Sachin Tendulkar at the highest esteem, because even when he was on his peak of his career, you would always come back and play for Bombay, and he won them a couple of years, playing the semi-finals and the finals. And so also Pujara, every opportunity that he got to play for Saurashtra, he is always available. And that's what it is. But surprisingly, our Delhi players, once they play for India, they're not available. I don't blame them. I think it's too tight a schedule for them. So they hardly get time for themselves or for the family.
How was it playing against Mr. Gavaskar, Vengsarkar, Kapil Dev? They both, all these in the opposite camp.
So as I said, it was a challenge, and I think I always believe that playing against them, boosted your confidence, and getting runs against them. Of course, Kapil Paji was part of my setup when we were playing for the Dilip Trophy and the Jyota Trophy. But yes, there was always an air of, we would look at them with awe. You see, when you watched Sunil Gavaskar and when you watched Gundappa Vishwanath on the other end,
Yes.
you would be admiring them from a distance, even though we wanted them to get out soon. And I remember Sunny by 2 of the finals, he got a double 100 and a 150. So I think yes, the competition was, especially at Bombay Delhi game, there would be a capacity crowd of about 35 to 40,000 people, and always we were made to believe that getting runs against Bombay and against these big stars is the road for you to get into the Indian team. So that was the kind of an acid test for you guys. So I think yes, it was fun. I won't say fun, it was challenging, and we were always hoping the competition was because there was a time when Bombay would be easy winners. They would go on. That's why they won about 44 times the Ranji Trophy. But I think Bedi Paji, during that phase when he took over Delhi cricket, he inculcated this feeling, this belief in us that yes, they are beatable. You have to have your self-belief. And it was, as I said, was very challenging playing against them. And then Delhi did sort of dethrone them for a couple of seasons in the Ranji Trophy. And that's why we went on to win about 7 times now. Though the numbers are still less, we could have made that a little more higher than what it shows, because that's the talent that Delhi has.
And Bhasi, talking of Mr. Gavaskar, he's written glowingly about you in his book, which if you remember, it was absolutely something which you can definitely be proud of. But if I am not mistaken, can we pick your double 100 against Bombay as your most memorable innings, or maybe you can add a few more?
Yeah, I think as rightly so, it was my memorable innings, and the fact that it was the if I could use the word, Bombay happens to be the mecca of Indian cricket, if I put it that way, because they have a cricketing culture with all these ex-players, ex-former Indians. Any game in Bombay, they would all come and watch, and they would always have a comment for some of the good players. They would always come out with their views and comments, and I remember this 221 that I got against Bombay in the semi-finals. All I remember is that I was dejected when I got out for 221. It was on this just before, I think it was just before lunch on the second day. And as I was walking back dejectedly, all I could here was my name being called, and I turned back and I saw Dilip Vengsarkar, all the way from the slip area, walked up to me, shook my hands, and said, "Very well played, Bhaskar." That was a treat to watch. That was one inning that I remember playing in Bombay. The other inning that comes to my mind in Bombay again was the Wills Trophy finals, where Delhi, after reaching the final, they were playing, I think, the board president 11, led by I think Mohammad Azharuddin, and they virtually an Indian bowling attack, and a capacity crowd again, a full crowd, and we were something like 30, 40 for 4 or something when I walked in. I was already there, and from there I got a brilliant 100. So on my way back, on that crowd of about 35,000 people, I could see just one face, standing up and clapping for me. Now that's one memory I can never forget, That's still etched in my mind, and I still, when I look back and think about the good times that I had on the cricketing field, that one image comes to my mind was Sunil Gavaskar standing and clapping for me. Even though I missed out on that Sharjah trip because I was made a standby. The moment the Man of the Match award went to somebody else, I knew that probably, I've missed the first game. Otherwise, that 100 should have got me the Man of the Match award, even though we were on the losing side. But somebody who got a 70 went on to get that Man of the Match award, and he eventually made it to the Sharjah trip.
Yeah. And Bhasi, that fateful morning at Jammu, I've heard, we have talked about it so many times, but I want you to relive it, even if painfully, for our viewers.
I actually, to be honest, it's nothing to remember about. It's one of those days. I think I'm a great believer of destiny. I think in the end, you can't fight destiny. You just can't. If it's written, you want to. If you are, if you had to play, it'll happen some way or the other. You'll have a godfather coming in, and helping you out. But then, even after all those hundreds and many winning knocks that I played for Delhi and North Zone, twice I got picked for India. That one thing was the Jammu. But saying that, I was a little disappointed there because New Zealand started off their that tour, that 3-day game against North Zone, where I got 100. And I thought probably, it was the right time because I was in good form. I thought probably they might pick me up for the test side. Because I was always kept as a standby. From 85 to 91, I was the standby. If a team of 16 would go, I would be the 17th man. If a team of 17 would go, I would be the 18th man. I was always given that letter saying that I'm the first standby. But here, it's not that, of course, it's quite a chocker block. The middle order was packed with some great players. But saying that in that very series, many of the youngsters were given a chance. And I was finding it difficult. Why wasn't I given a chance, especially after getting 100 against New Zealand? We had 3 test matches. I missed out on all 3. And there were about 4 one-day games that had gone past. And I still didn't find my place. And I think there was some kind of, some people had started talking about this. There were paper coverage, there were reports from some of the seniors, and some, as you said, like people like Sunil Gavaskar and some of the others who wrote and asked, what else, what more for Bhaskar to do? So as a consolation, if I could use the word consolation, I was put into I was named for the 5th one day, which happened to be in Jammu. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So it was heartbreaking. But what was sad part was that, just that a month ago you were part of the 11. I was told that I was going at number 3. Team was declared and I was playing. And just after a month, I think we had the West Indies tour, and some probables were announced, and my name wasn't there. That was something which is hard to digest. It was a little unfortunate. You just wonder, what kind of selection is this? Because in between we didn't have any tournament as such, where they could have sort of seen my form. That also didn't happen. But then, unfortunately, my name wasn't there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that when you came back, when you opened the window, all you saw was clouds.
it was funny actually. I even told Sabha that I might train tomorrow because the practice time, it was so damn humid. It was so damn humid. And on our way back, we were sitting together, and I told Sabha, "Watch out for the rains tomorrow." He said, "Are you crazy? We're going to make our debut tomorrow, and how can you say that?" I said, "I have a funny feeling. My gut feeling says that it's going to rain tomorrow." And it rained, and it rained. And the other time that I got picked, we said Bangladesh when we went for the SAC, when we went for the SAC tournament, and unfortunately the captain didn't play me in the first two games because I was one of those seniors in the so-called, the young lot that had gone. A North Zone captain, my Delhi counterpart, didn't play me in the first two games. It was a little shocking because he wanted an extra bowler to be part of the setup, of course, rightly so. And then though Gigi Boy, who was the manager, said, "No, you've got so many other bowlers who can fill in that fifth bowler slot. Why don't you play him?" Because I've been told that you need to see his temperament in the one grade up. So that's why we picked him up. But then the third game, when I was playing, I was padded up to go in next, and this Ram Janmabhoomi thing happened. Demolition of the mosque took place, and the whole tournament got cancelled. And it was really shocking because there was another chance which went begging. But then there was a total ban. The flights were all disrupted. There was no way of leaving Dhaka. We got stuck in the hotel for 3 days. But we were told that the same team has been retained for a game against England, who was supposed to be touring India. And this game was supposed to be played in Lucknow. So I reached home. I was preparing myself to depart for Lucknow, and I still remember very clearly. My mom probably saw the paper. She walked in and she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Lucknow. I need to go there because we got a 3-game win." Kata, "Haven't you read the papers?" I said, "No." She showed me the paper, and there was a caption saying that Rahul Dravid replaces Bhaskar for that game. Fair enough. And that was probably a message that I might not be given a chance again. And that's it. So I retired very early, which I think I shouldn't have done it. I could have carried on playing a couple of more seasons if I wanted. But at the age of 29, it's too early to announce the retirement. So which I did, because the only fact that I thought that now, I think probably I missed us.
I remember drafting your press statement of retirement, and
My wife still hasn't forgiven me because she was on a flight, and a colleague of hers told her that, she's retired. Look at this. There was a big headline with a picture of mine. And she came back and started firing all cylinders at me. He said, "How dare you do it?" And she still hasn't forgiven me for that. She said, "No, there's always ups and downs in life." Yeah, that's it. That's how I am.
Bhasi, something interesting about your traveling days of domestic cricket, because I remember we have traveled in buses and trains and later on in flights, but of course you were with Indian Airlines. So you could also opt to fly, but any interesting anecdote from your journey, any of the journeys, if you can share with me.
I would really. It was quite, actually scary. Actually, I would use the word interesting, in the sense that when we had that shooting of our late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and we had a couple of players. Gursharan Singh had just left a day before. He was missing out on that game, and we were to go down to Ahmedabad for the finals for the Dilip Trophy. But then we got this news that it's been cancelled, and we've been asked to go back. So we took a train, and but we had Rajinder Singh Gai and Navjot Singh Sidhu, and this whole train was packed with people, going for the funeral. But we were sort of saved because of being in the AC compartment. And I still remember one station when we got this news that things are out of control. I remember Madipa standing at one end and Chetan Jawan, standing on the other, other side of the gate. trying to tell people to not to enter the AC compartment. But because of their known faces and the popularity that they had, people looked at them and said, "Oh, ये तो cricketers हैं यार, इधर नहीं जाना." But you never know in a mob situation, things could have gone off hand. And I remember putting Sidhu and Guy, in that luggage compartment, and then they were made to lie down there. Sidhu got so hysterical; he wanted us to cut his hair, so he became, he was very scared, and rightly so. I mean, people had gone berserk that time. We had seen it closing. Getting closer to Agra, that Marina place, you could see bodies on the railway tracks, burned, half burned, and that was sickening. It was really shocking and scary. And we got down at Agra. The train was not allowed to go ahead of Agra, but this major or captain, some army guy, I remember Yashpal Sharma going up to him and talking to him, telling them that, look, these are all Indian players. This guy escorted us to a hotel, and made sure that proper security was given to us. So yeah, I can use that. Other than that, it was fun. The long journeys, a whole day journey on the train would be
2 nights on the train.
Huh?
2 nights on the train.
Yeah, but then cards would be out. The cops wouldn't say anything. The seniors would play flash, and we would sit on the top and have a look at this, enjoying our time, looking at them. That's how it is.
Yeah, but there were no for today's young cricket fans. If you can share what kind of facilities? I think they're non-existent. Very few states had good dressing rooms, except the fact that pitches may be good, but the grounds were bad. Outfields were very not so good as they are today. So it was tough playing domestic cricket, I think.
Yeah, saying that, but then again, as I said, it was all about passion. It was all about trying to prove ourselves in front of the so-called selection committee, in front of the BCCI. That the only goal that we had was to don the Indian colours, get into the Indian team by scoring, and that's what we cared about. Bothered about whether the hotel was good or bad, but then. Of course, playing for a team like Delhi, we had much better facilities than some of the other states. The others would envy us, that we were put up in a 5-star hotel. I remember my first season. I remember that we had landed up in Chennai, and we were put up in Dasa Prakash Hotel. I still remember, and many of us didn't want to go in, so we went checking up. So I remember we all sitting in the lobby, and Jimmy Pa was supposed to come a little later. So we were waiting for him to arrive, and so that we could. Of course, we youngsters didn't have any say, but there were some of the seniors who didn't want to stay there, and they were waiting for Jimmy Pa to arrive and put in the complaint to him, and so that he could talk to the TNCA officials and get a change. Fair enough. Jimmy Pa landed up, and he was told very clearly that this is not the hotel that we're going to stay in. He called up Mr. Chidambaram, I still remember. He called him up, and within half an hour, phone call came and said, "Chola Sheraton, is it okay, Jimmy?" And everybody had a laugh, Everybody had a laugh. Fair enough for the seniors to give out a laugh and enjoy, but what about us, the youngsters? You've been paid $250. I don't know, in a 7-star hotel. You order for a cup of tea and your whole match money goes off. And that's what was worrying us. But I still remember that. But there were some of the seniors who would, when they would be invited, because they were all they all had fans, and who would come and invite you over for dinner and lunch and things like that. So these seniors would make sure that that we were also tagged along with it. They would not just go on their own. So any invite that came, they would say, "Is the whole team coming?" And that's how our dinner and those things were taken care of.
Yeah.
Those are the times. But now I'm told even a team like under 19 team like Manipur, they stay in a 5-star hotel. So that's good thing. Things have changed, definitely changed.
Yeah. Bhasi, finally, a couple of questions. One is, now that you are a coach, so there is so much of red ball, white ball, red ball, white ball cricket. So how do you manage? I mean, how do you look at coaching? Do they have a difficult job? Because being a coach for a 4-day game and then for a T20 game and then for a ODI game. So what kind of challenges you would face?
See, when you're coaching a Ranji Trophy side, it's more about man management. It's not actually that you're going to teach them what is a front foot or a back foot and things like that. The odd adjustments that you need to make, that you're always there to guide them and help them out. See, I always believe that cricket has changed, has evolved. Cricket has evolved, if you can say, for betterment. That's how it is today. When Packer series came up, I remember people called it a pajama cricket. And I remember the caption, "Big boys play at night," that t-shirt. I also had one. So, but then over a few years, in about 10, 15 years or 20 years down the line, it became the cricket that was accepted all over the world. Then came your T20. To begin with, people did not really appreciate this kind of a format. Oh yeah, what is this? Well, there's no technique here. It's all about tonking, But then if you see the popularity, now it's only the T20 which attracts the crowd. The sponsorships have gone up, and so has the coaching methods. Now, as a coach, I also need to evolve myself. Cricket has changed. I think speed and power has taken over. We talk about technique, where during our era, you would play a sweep shot and they would say out. This guy can't play straight. Throw him out. He doesn't fit into the 5-day format. Maybe a 1-day or a Will Stocky team you can think about. But today, look at the improvisation shots that are available. I remember when I was coaching in the Specialized Academy, BCCI Special Academy in Bombay. Me and Lajan Rajput were the two consultants there, coaches. We had added this into the curriculum. See, all these improvisation shots, and we had some great players like Surya Kumar Yadav was part of our setup, and the way he used to play these shots, the uppercuts, the paddle sweeps, the switch hits, the inside-out shots. Now if you compare this cricket 30 years ago, see this vast difference, But today you need to add this to their repertoire. You need to add these shots to their curriculum. So. But at the same time, as a coach, I believe that you need to have the basics right. It's something like if you're a 4-day player, let me put it this way, 4-day or a 5-day player, you can adapt to the 1-days and the T20s. Whereas if you're a T20 player, can you adapt to the longer format? It doesn't happen. And if you see, there are many cricketers who played about 200 1-day internationals. Of course, T20 wasn't there, but hardly played any Test cricket. If you talk about international stars, somebody like a Bevan, and even India has so many players, so many talented, excellent performers who've done exceedingly well at the white ball, but somehow missed out doing as great as what they did in the white ball format. So they struggled in the red ball cricket. So I think you need to make sure that you don't compromise on the basic part. So if you have the basics right, you can adapt to any kind of formats. Look at Virat Kohli, classic example. He doesn't go hammer and tongs. He doesn't go harakiri over. He doesn't has that wild swing and all. Cricketing shots, hit in the gaps, get those boundaries and sixes. You don't need to be a Gale to score runs, and you might have a good strike rate, fair enough. But what in the end matters is what is your performance? What are you? Are you consistent? Are you getting runs game after game? Are you a Virat Kohli? That's what it is. That's what matters.
So Bhasi, why didn't you score a 100 to get into the Indian team?
So you were trying to remind me of that. Yeah, I remember. That's funny actually. This 221 when I got that, and I still remember next day, and I was going for fielding, and I see the chairman selection committee standing in the door and asking me to come out and have a word with me. So I still remember I had one shoe and I had the socks on the other, and I ran because he happened to be a big man. So he put his arm around me, took me inside the Wankhede Stadium, and he said, "Oh, I know you're getting hundreds and 200s. Now what I want from you is a 300. So I stopped, I paused and I asked him, I said, is that the criteria for me to get into the Indian team? No, I didn't mean that. I said, no, sir, I get your answer.
Yeah.
And it was funny. And I ran back from there, all the way back. I made it very clear, that's what it is.
A couple of,
Huh?
I know, Basi. A couple of last fun question. I know you sing very well. In your traveling days, can you pick one cricketer who really sang well? Who would entertain the team during travel or after the game in the dressing room?
Yes, I remember the Delhi dressing room. We had, unfortunately, we lost him. He died very young. There was a cricketer called Rajesh Peter, if you remember.
Yeah.
The man who was instrumental in us winning that epic 700 runs chase against Karnataka.
Yeah.
He got a brilliant 80 not out, something like that, 75, 80 not out, and he won us the game. He was a damn good singer. And I still remember some of the after the team meeting, Rajesh would always come out with some kind of a ghazal or a song. We should probably lighten up the whole, team meeting. And unfortunately, we lost him very early.
I remember he would sing that "Chane Jor Garam Laya Karte," his favorite song, And
he was a good soul, a very dear friend of mine, very dear friend of mine. Because we played under 22, we played the under 19 together, 22 together, and of course the Ranji Trophy too. He was a good singer.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else was that as good as him.
Yeah. And Vasif, last question. What is it that attracts you about today's cricket?
Definitely the fielding, the fitness, the fielding. See, as I said, our time probably technique was the front runner. Need to be number one in your technique. Probably fielding to be number two department, and fitness maybe three. See, I always thought that many of the earlier cricketers probably were mentally very strong in terms of endurance or aerobic and anaerobic and all these latest terms that are being used now. I think these guys were extremely, mentally they could carry on. A guy like Sanibai could bat for 5 days. He was so strong mentally, and so were some of the other greats like Jimmy Parr and all these guys. Today, maybe the technique has taken a backseat. You need to be a brilliant fielder first. So number one, sequentially, if I could put, you need to be a brilliant fielder. Probably you would be a brilliant fielder only if you were fitness freak, somebody like Virat. And then comes now your technique. So it has probably reversed. It has sort of changed. So I think you really enjoy. I really enjoy the fielding part, the slides, the catches, the relay, catching and all those things, which was never seen. Probably Jonty has brought this change in the whole fielding scenario.
I can understand your bias towards fielding because you were a brilliant fielder yourself in any position, from close in to cover and to long on, or wherever. So thank you, Bhasi. It's been wonderful having you with us.
Thank you so much.
And wish you all the very best for the season with Tripura.
Thank you. Yeah. We just won. We just beat Hyderabad. Your home. Your side.
I know. I know.
So that was a great victory for us.
Yes. Wonderful victory. Yeah. Fine. Thank you, Basi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay. Yeah. Thank you for having me over. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
That was it from our side for the first episode. If you found that interesting, please tune in to Pen, Paper and Podcast with Vijay Lokapally on all your podcasting platforms.